Gentlemen, welcome back. It is our final matchup of the day, and two players that don't really need many introductions, but one who has certainly a giant story that has been brewing over many, many years. That, of course, being Rapha, and he's going up against GaRpY.
Question is, the question has been, and currently the question always will be, can somebody actually beat Rapha? Because what's been going on so far, especially in Pro League as of late, is this unbelievable display of dominance. And we just look at these results in the weeklies. It's been a clean sweep. And I guess one thing to point out is that in the practice sessions, right, the scrims, the private matches that have been happening leading up to this tournament, Rapha has definitely looked vulnerable in terms of being able to lose maps, lose series even. But scrims are one thing, tournament is a different beast, and that has been proven time and time again. Is this going to be another one of those times, Lethal?
It could be, and even having, straight 3-0s across the board, it's been a lot tougher competition. Like, everyone has stepped up in the Americas region, and still no one has taken a map. And if I do my math correctly from the top of my head, from the Americas region alone, he must be on a 63 win streak, including last season and this season. So, yeah, that's an achievement in itself. He's going to be pretty pleased about that. He's going to try and continue that on if he can. But, this is the finals now. This is a point where a lot of the players do step up their game because their practice regimen in terms of amount of practice they put in terms of time and everything else is going to inflate massively, and now he has a lot more competition coming into this. But yeah, Rapha versus GaRpY, definitely a tall order in itself. GaRpY riding that momentum wave earlier on in that first match of the day, winning against Pasita by that one crucial frag, keeping his spot here in the Quake Pro League. And yeah, the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of the stats we've just seen in terms of match results in comparison. Yeah, not something you like to see, but GaRpY will at least be happy to know he can keep his spot. But we'll have to see now what he can do against Rapha. And yeah, it's going to be extremely, extremely tough for him.
Our human Quakepedia Flea, who has been gracing us with his commentary all week, dropped in chat a fun fact that this is the third finals in a row that Rapha and GaRpY immediately face each other in round one. GaRpY has not won a map in these series yet. So there you go. Thank you, Flea, for the data. Interesting to note, because as GaRpY came in as the challenger, this has been the mountain that he has been asked to climb each and every stage finals. Once again, here we are at the World Championship, and the same request is being made of GaRpY. Let's talk a little bit about GaRpY, because he did obviously fight through his relegation match today. It went all 5 games, was quite good. But let's be realistic in our predictions. Flea just threw out the fun fact. Anyone willing to go against what the data says?
I mean, it was a long time ago, but my brain is telling me that there was something with GaRpY and Rapha in QuakeCon 2018 that was the round-based duel, and it was that really kind of wild duel showdown that happened when it was best of one map and all that.
Yeah.
But that was obviously a long time ago. It's going to be hard to go against. You know me as well. I am the most biased GaRpY fan that we.
That's why we're both here.
That's why we are here to give
right.
GaRpY the biased UK energy. It's kind of late here in the UK. You know what I'm saying? I think GaRpY said in the party chat, I should have been in bed over 2 hours ago. He said it. I didn't say it. He said it. So we're here to give him extra support. Chat, you're going to have to deal with it. This is the last stream of the day, though, right? And Rapha's the clear favourite. GaRpY needs the help he can get.
Yeah, he's
well, let's take a look. Go ahead, Lethal, as we're going to bring up the picks and bans if you want to complete your comment here, but let's take a look at these as well.
Oh, no, it wasn't really that interesting anyway. I'm just going to go straight to the maps from what we've seen so far.
Great.
And as we can see, GaRpY has banned Molten Falls, even though Vail was one of his better maps, and it looks like GaRpY's actually selected it for him, so Rapha would be pretty pleased about that, but he's also selected Corrupted Keep, which is quite interesting. And it's quite strange because statistically, GaRpY has been very good on Deep Embrace, but he's actually banned that and gone towards Exile. Another map he's also very keen on, so definitely not the map choices I expected.
No, but when I'm looking at this matchup, I don't really know if champion or map would make a difference, because Rapha, would you say Rapha has a weak map? Would you say he has a weak champion? I just think the answer to that question is no. And there's a reason he's the champ. And it's just because of the absolute unrivaled versatility, adaptation. And above all else, I think it's just he can play everything in this game at a world-class level. So when you're in this position, he's going to pick a good champion to fight you with. He's going to ban champions that you might really want to play. He's going to be happy on every map. He might be able to go in with a map that he feels a bit confident on against you. But the question is, Rapha rarely goes into a map at a disadvantage. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
I do indeed. And I
do.
feel like, I think a lot of people would have predicted, yeah, this should be a 2-0 to end the night. But I feel like these map choices have almost solidified that. But I have faith in GaRpY, like you rightly said, Ryan, just now, in terms of, yeah, he needs a lot more faith from us in terms of what he can do potentially. Yeah, you're talking about that Quake con before. It was a long time ago, but at least in the back of his mind, he can say, well, you know, I've done it before in the best of one, but I'm not too sure in the best of three. A lot of things have changed over the last few years. But yeah, we'll have to see here. The only thing I could say, GaRpY can ride the momentum earlier on from when he won against Pasita. That was a long time ago. That was the first match of the day here. So he's obviously calmed down a bit in terms of adrenaline, and now needs to focus on trying to stay in this winner's bracket. And let's see if he can maybe somehow manage to do that.
Well, both players are in the lobby. They're ready to go. I'm going to take the sidelines here. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. Of course, Ketchup and Lethal will be your drivers, gentlemen. I'll see you at the end.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. We'll be seeing everyone in a little bit now as we jump on to Corrupted Keep, a map that we have seen Rapha do incredibly well on. The just intensity he brings forward on a map like this is out of this world at times, because it feels like you just do not get a chance to exist on this map. Fumbling my words a bit tonight. I'm going to just blame the time for that and the fact that I didn't have a cup of tea when I definitely should have. But hopefully GaRpY's had his tea to keep himself in check and alert for what is no doubt going to be a very hard matchup. It is GaRpY who was just, to his credit, saved himself from relegation, but at the same time now you've got the world champ in your path. It's going to be a hard call.
It really will be. I wish I had another brute as well, but depending on how GaRpY plays, if he shows some light at the end of the tunnel, some flare in this matchup, then we won't even need it. Oh, there you go. To say
pulled it out of the abyss.
I am still quite excited. I'm hoping that GaRpY gets out the gate strong, and yeah, it's like I said, the map choices almost solidifies my prediction, but I really hope it doesn't. Like I said, you know, I'm not the most biased person, but it is GaRpY after all. You know, sure, Mr. Marshall will put on the best performance possible against Rapha if he can, but I think I just heard the ding, which means that we'll be heading straight into our first map of the series, and it will be the last series of the day, guys. So we'll be starting on Corrupted Keep, and then we'll see what happens from there onwards. Starting off from Rapha's POV, picking up that heavy straight away.
An all-out aggression, which is to the surprise of nobody. Both of these champions are going to be able to kind of cycle around this map at great speed, being able to nullify that Pika instantly. But importantly for Rapha, I think very much has gotten his Corrupted Keep exclusive Unholy Trinity, which tends to be Super Shotgun, Rocket, and LG. There's no rail here, but the shotgun becomes every bit more important, especially how point blank this map tends to be as well. Heavy is going to get picked up here by Rapha, bringing himself back up to the 100 HP as well, and keeping Acid Spit for a rainy day. GaRpY's drone, I mean, it's gone for at least 15 more seconds.
Yeah, I'm glad GaRpY selected the Strog, definitely one of the strongest champions in this map. Rapha just biding his time and had his back turned, so GaRpY had a great opportunity there to do a little bit of damage, which he has done. And still though, Rapha just using that heavy machine gun to full effect to keep his distance, has to back away again. This is something you don't normally see every day. Trying to get away from that pick. I can still hear it coming behind him.
It's right
still
behind
chasing him. It still was the whole time. They've been one of the longest peekers I've ever heard. He comes up with the LG, gets that first frag, and yeah, that was
Did you see that
balmy.
super shotgun at the end as well? That was a very deliberate bit of overkill there from Rapha. Man cycled the whole map, and by taking the Mega, GaRpY was out of position because of it.
Yeah, just keep an eye on Rapha now. You can see what he wants to do next. Good shotgun there, and good LG to try and clean him up. But he did pick up the heavy, which will give him some leeway to maybe makes something happen, tickles in with that last tri-bolt shot, and still just hovering around in that red room to see if GaRpY does approach him, which he does not. Just standing his ground in the middle using that peek. Has done a fair amount of damage. He can push in here and tie things up if he wants to, and yes, he does. Takes a fair amount of damage in the process, a little bit of BME of his own, but let's be honest, not really BM. They're both good friends. They're both just basically dilly-dallying around, and good direct there from GaRpY, looking to try and see if he can do anything more, but prioritizes the heavy first. Sadly for him, he realizes that rapha hasn't gone straight to the red room. Does pick up the mega in the meantime, but will he be able to get the second frag? Yes, he does. Great start here from GaRpY, exactly what he required.
You can say that again. rapha was so close to not even being able to pick up the mega because where he got sent flying. Now, the range damage is good enough to keep GaRpY away. GaRpY's going to reposition himself, try and focus on this heavy that is a few seconds away from spawning here. Nice use of the LG. I love that weapon choice. You know that there's going to be this bunny hopping Sorlag down that tunnel.
Okay.
They're going to be airborne. LG is the right weapon there.
Good so far. May get taken down here. Oh, that last shotgun shot wouldn't have taken him down if it was point blank, but would have heavily damaged him so that GaRpY could go straight away for the trade. But instead, he's going to try and grab all the weapons in his arsenal to take that bout against rapha. Again, using that heavy machine gun, and this weapon is so vital on this map. It's a little bit underused at times, but rapha definitely makes full use of it when he gets the opportunity to. Just having a little look around to see if he may expect any flanks coming out from GaRpY, but so far GaRpY hasn't let this matchup spiral out of control as of yet. Just standing his ground, just biding his time, waiting to see where it could be. We'll find him with that peeker. Now knows that he's still got that height advantage. Items come up in the next few seconds.
I've got to say, GaRpY's giving this one hell of a fight. Never forget that on Corrupted Keep, the Battle of the Rockets, where GaRpY's rockets are easily the entire best part of his gameplay. There's a reason people always associate GaRpY with the rocket launcher. It's because he hits some of the most unreal shots that you pretty much never expect anyone to land, let alone when the chips are down and you have this high-stakes situation. Now, one frag in the lead currently, but on Corrupted Keep, that don't mean much. But at least enough to keep GaRpY careful, listening out for where he is. rapha in position for this heavy.
GaRpY's definitely oozing in confidence, and I like how he's not overextending or getting too carried away. Just playing this safe and secure, knowing that he's got this lead. And rapha just, again, full item control, and GaRpY's trying to find a way to try and diminish that stack. Using that peeker again, and it's been close, but not as good as the other one, sadly for him. And the LG coming out for rapha. GaRpY has to back away. Will he be able to get away, though? Good rocket, but it's not going to be enough. And yeah, that was close indeed.
Even being on the 1 HP, the fact that he managed to turn that pre-death into a 100 damage rocket, like that alone, there was never a situation where it was going to get better than that in terms of trade-off. You had to take the damage, and he just got every ounce of damage he can get. Unfortunately, being chased, rapha able to back off towards the mega, keep the timing separate as well, just for bonus, I suppose. And now, 7 seconds. This heavy's going to spawn, but I fear that GaRpY is not going to be able to go near it. Did some decent Hyper Blaster damage from the Peeker, to be fair. I think he's looking to take it. Yes, he will. rapha happy to concede it for now because he's able to cycle himself around. GaRpY is still weak. Oh, acid! Oh, no. And there's not going to be any health. rapha's taken most of it. Does manage to take the 2.
Oh. Yeah, talk about timing as well. GaRpY has done just under 500 more damage than his opponent. Now rapha just exerting himself just a tad to see if he can find him with that mobility up to Sorlag. Hasn't as of yet, but we'll find him in this red room. This could be Kernes, but good rocket from GaRpY, and actually wins that bout. Definitely not what we expected. Luckily for him, the light is there to help him recover a little bit quicker. The mega's up in the next few seconds. He's going to be a little bit worried, but will he be able to grab it? Not yet, but he does get it in the end. Will get taken down though as rapha does clean things up and tie the stakes here. 4 minutes left remaining. rapha looking a lot better than he did at the start of this matchup.
GaRpY's damage with that Peeker, you could even see it in rapha's player cam. He was shocked. That was almost, what? How much damage did I take? And now, even Stevens again. I've got to give GaRpY the props. This is extremely close. 4 frags apiece. I mean, GaRpY could, there's a strong realm where he takes this first map. Now, rapha takes that defensive rocket damage for another time. GaRpY has no armor, but rapha is pretty weak right now. Ooh, even that rocket almost hit him in the face. And he goes down!
This is great from GaRpY. Where was this GaRpY over the last stage catch-up? Like, I don't know where he's been, but looking good so far. Oh, literally 6 HP. Rapha's going to be able to recover there. Oh, he's already taken a lot of LG damage as he has managed to pick up the heavy eventually. Now GaRpY just waiting to find out the whereabouts of Rapha, just feed himself information before he picks up that Mega. Has delayed it ever so slightly so that it can heavily segregate him if he wins this next battle. But oh, the LG from Rapha looking very, very good. Had to try and back away, but he cannot. He's in a bit of a tough spot, and Rapha does manage to take the lead.
Not only did he take the lead, but he takes the lead with plenty of stack to work with. The super shotgun in between, nowhere near the same degree as hitting a rail, for example. You know, the downtime in between SSG is nowhere near as prominent. However, Rapha, he gets in and out and steals away the heavy, so that's definitely a win for the American. GaRpY, 2 frags behind now, and this is what I'm a little bit worried about. Rapha always has this edge of being able to just take that lead, and he cements it. It's so hard to get a lead back when he's taking it on you, and GaRpY, he's been just shy of ahead for most of this map. Now with 2 minutes left to go, he doesn't have a lot of time to make something happen, but as he forces his way forward, Rapha is going to be able to put up these defensive positions. Heavy, likely to get picked up here by GaRpY, and it will. But Mega in play. Minimal damage upon taking it straight away. Here comes the Pika. GaRpY, does he jump down? He does. And one of us dies now, and it looks like it might be Rapha. It will. GaRpY was not the cleanest frag. Has a little bit more stack than normal, but not enough to push yet. You're going up against a heavy, remember. That large stack on spawn makes a difference, even if it isn't as big as it once was.
Certainly does indeed, as GaRpY now was thinking about going for the health bubbles to get a little bit more value from the Mega, but it doesn't. And now he backs away from the Mega as, yeah, it was very close, very tight to decide if he wanted to pick it up or not. But look at the stack of Rapha. He could just push in whenever he needs to, depending on how clean he wants the frag to be. But you know what Rapha's like, he wants to get the full amount if he can, and already on the chase, using those defensive rockets, and the Pika looking much better than I anticipated, and Rapha finally takes him down, but took a huge amount of damage in the process. Now using the heavy machine gun to tickle him a tad as he was going towards that rocket spawn. And now Rapha again has the height advantage, but GaRpY now does have the Mega, but look at the clock though, catch up. Literally only 40 seconds left to find his next 2 frags if he wants to keep himself in it.
Rapha on the hunt. I love that choice as well because he has a comfortable stack. He knows exactly when both of the items were going to spawn, and he knows that in between that, GaRpY is likely to, I think, just demote himself into the smaller areas of the map to just try and get his basic stack back up. And that is the first place that Rapha went to try and secure another frag and keep that pressure even more severe. Could have played defensively if he wanted to. They trade, which is just insult to injury at the last minute. But that was close for most of it. At least 3/4 of that map, GaRpY had a solid chance. It's just that once Rapha got that lead, it was a bit too much for GaRpY to challenge, I suppose. And it was a shift in pace. You know, we were trading it back and forth every time. And then in the final moments of that map, where most players would, I think, have definitely not taken the foot off the gas, but they would have become a lot more defensive, Rapha used that to go on the hunt. And I guess almost fitting, seeing as he's playing as Sorlag. But that's going to be the first map in the favor of Rapha. Just like that. Rapha, obviously, I mean, we have maybe one more map left to go. Can GaRpY equalize is the question.
He definitely kept the score respectable there, even with a very strong champion like Strog on this map. And I will say as well, the only thing he can, I love how he laughed off as well after that first frag, but even talking about that, in terms of damage, he actually did just under 900 more damage compared to Rapha, which is not something you normally see every day. It's just the fact that Rapha was able to contest those items a lot better in his favor. But it's nice to see from GaRpY. A lot of people will probably say, you know, this is probably going to be like a 14-3 matchup or something like that. But no, absolutely not. Complete opposite from what we expected. And I'm glad to see that GaRpY's still in full force. And it's a shame we didn't see him playing like this in the previous 13 weeks in the Pro Leagues, but it's nice to see that he's really shown his full potential here in the finals.
It goes to show, I think, the natural talent that GaRpY has as an arena FPS player, that even in this situation where in the pre-game chat, he's extremely happy-go-lucky, just having a good time, being super chill, you know, kind of talking to Rapha like a mate, because he is, right? But when the chips are down and we have to sit and play, he's able to face the world champion, and for most of that map, he's in the lead. And I think that is what can be so scary about GaRpY's experience and fundamentals. that you sit him down and tell him to play, and he'll play. And sometimes he'll come that close to taking out the current #1 in the world. You know, that's just what GaRpY does. Unfortunately, it wasn't a map win for him, but a map going that close, a lot of people can't get maps that close against Rapha, even in Pro League.
Yeah, even the best of players, it's been a little bit of a shocker, really, considering how close that map was. And we are going into the second map very shortly. It will be on Vail, and Rapha does say it is his best map. But statistically, I wouldn't say it is, but he always feels like it's the map he's most comfortable on, which is perfectly understandable. And yeah, only 1 or 2 players have actually taken Vail off Rapha, and we'll have to see if GaRpY can be one of those players to, you know, add to that tally to maybe take this map off him to take us to a third and final map, which is possible. And I have a lot more faith in him now that from what we saw in that scoreline. Beforehand, I wasn't really too sure, but now I've definitely a lot more faith, considering the damage dealt he did in comparison, showing a lot more map presence. And just remember about contesting those items a little bit better. You can see Rapha's eating up those lights as well, and we saw on a number of occasions where GaRpY was just left thinking to himself, like, you know, he can't recover as quick as he would like to, and couldn't really delay Rapha enough due to that starting stack on numerous occasions once again.
I just saw GaRpY say, if Rapha restarts, I restart. It gives you special powers. You heard it from here first, that competitive edge. First of all, we heard the in-game cosmetics gives you powers, and now restarting the game gives you special powers. This is the secret tech that you're getting here for day 1 of our World Championship finals. And right now, I feel like this is going to be another one of those maps where we're going to brawl, we're going to throw down. It's what Vail does. But as you said, Rapha does consider this to be one of, if not his strongest map, right? So that first map, a chance to get nice and limber, refresh, but we're going into rather serious territory. Rapha's now 1 map up here. You know he doesn't want to go into lower bracket this early, if at all. GaRpY probably, I think, a little bit more accepting that it's a possibility. Rapha strives for perfection every single time he plays, whether it's one single map, whether it's a series, tournament, scrims, or whatever. I use the word intensity when describing Rapha because you just look at him in game. He could be 20-0, and with 30 seconds to go, he's still flawlessly timing the items. He's still pushing as if the map had only just begun. There's a real professionalism, I think, that comes from that.
Yeah, you could say more of a perfectionist, really. Like, he's the sort of guy where he'll be 25-0 up, like you said, and if he loses a frag or gets taken down in some way, he'll whinge and moan about it, even though he's got a massive lead. Like, that's how much of a perfectionist he is. And just going into the picks and bans again, I'm still a little bit surprised about the map pick from GaRpY. Maybe he's quite confident in Vail and we just don't know about it, but I always felt like his better maps have been Deep Embrace and Exile. I've seen a number of occasions where GaRpY scrimmed against Wenger and he looked really solid in Deep Embrace, and Exile has had a fair few moments as well. But going to Vail, I wanted to see what GaRpY wants to bring to the table here, because it's definitely not what I expected in terms of picks, and yeah, just a little bit of a surprise to me, just a little bit gobsmacked.
We're entering our warm-up, so no doubt in a few seconds' time we will enter the Vale of Nath, as Rapha currently 1 series up here. Just having a quick look. There we are. Just having a quick look at the in-game chat just in case I missed something there, but I'm sure we'll find out. I'm sure we'll find out as we're going on.
We will.
Checking things out from GaRpY's point of view first. Sorry, 2 monitors sometimes on broadcast can be a blessing and a curse.
You know what? You're not wrong there, as now dropping down, pick down the rail, but looks like GaRpY was expecting it here, coming up with the LG, but still doesn't come out on top. Great LG from Rapha, picking up the light, waiting for GaRpY to see if he's going to literally spawn and just streamline into that rocket room, which he's not going to. As you can see again, just holding that high ground. Hasn't really got a huge stack, but almost similar to Rapha, but it doesn't matter now, as still Rapha got that slight edge in terms of stack, but still early days as of yet. We can see what GaRpY is going to get up to, as Rapha does have all the weapons in his arsenal, picks up all the hourglasses if he needs to use that orb once again. But again, GaRpY still has that high ground, just a matter of how he wants to try and use it.
Rather simple start here for Rapha. He was able to kind of just face tank straight through the teleporter into the totem, knowing that, look, I'm just about to pick up Mega, so however much damage I get from this really doesn't matter at all. And in this point, they actually trade item for item. Dropping down into that rocket instantly, you actually see dropping down with the super shotgun. The expectation of GaRpY being down there was 100%. But this orb, tried to be so sneaky and get a bonus rail. He's able to escape with his life at the very least. A rather sneaky little play there from rapha. But now we've got to get some of that armor back, the important resource, because now GaRpY controlling the center of the map at least, but an even split between the two items. So it's kind of likely we're going to take 1 for 1 again. rapha, the safety. Shut down him from being up near teleporter. If he's looking for a rail shot, the rocket jump just makes it so much harder to hit. Nice little bit of optimization there from rapha as they trade items for another time.
Certainly does, as rapha knows that he needs to keep on his toes, keep these totems in check. Just looking at GaRpY's POV, he hasn't got any totems up as of yet. That means that rapha's doing a good job just lapping around the map to make sure that he doesn't get any kind of advantage on that retrospective, that overstack. rapha picking up the mega once again, takes down another totem, and GaRpY has to drop all the way down. But this is good from GaRpY. Just make sure things don't get spiraled out of control too much. But as I said, it's already taking a huge amount of damage, as well as that orb, and that mid-air rocket is going to do itself justice here. Misses that first initial spawn rail. And again, GaRpY just standing his ground to see if he can get any more damage done, which he will not with that MG. Still though, rapha up 2-0. And look at that, GaRpY just sitting on the heavy, just daring him to try and attack him, but it's just not going to happen. No, so 3 minutes nearly passed. rapha only up 2-0.
Yeah, GaRpY's gone for some rather bold moves so far, pushing through these teleporters when he knows there's a good chance rapha's sitting up there, obviously confident in his own combat abilities, but rapha has been matching it more than happily. As now in 5 seconds, that orb's going to come back. That orb was instrumental to that last frag that he was able to obtain, and I feel like that's become a lot more prominent. Less self-damage on the rocket jump. Thank you very much, Ranger, as he picks up the heavy, and this is where things get critical. We have both of these items full control. This is normally where rapha locks in a lead that is almost impossible to combat, and GaRpY low for another time. Picked up a bunch of items on the way, and now rapha controlling the high ground for another point. This is a scary moment if you're a GaRpY fan.
Yeah, it certainly is indeed. rapha does pick up the heavy, but not without taking any damage, as he took that rail head on. But did retaliate with one of his own, and that was a beautiful rail just to clean up for that full frag. May actually taken down again, but decides to prioritize the high ground. Then he's dropping down straight away. Good first rail, and just using the orb for good measure, just in case he takes too much damage than he would like to. Picking up the mega, picking up the light now. Back to square one. Heavy is still up, but he's not going to drop down for it just yet. Just waiting to see what GaRpY's going to do first. Wants to just do a bit of damage to him before he makes that approach, but does get... Just have to tank that first rail from GaRpY from the light, but it doesn't matter. He has picked up the heavy anyway, and I'm just trying to think what GaRpY can do in order to bring this back. So he won't be able to get a bigger stack for a while, but considering how good his rockets have been, you never know. But the rails have just been, if not good, if not better, really, at this point. Now rapha just missed that initial rail. As GaRpY now just trying to get away with his life. Hasn't got any armor to his name, so it does pick up one light, and now we're just at the halfway stage. Still waiting for GaRpY to try and figure out what he can do to bring this back.
I could be wrong, but I'm not particularly convinced GaRpY had all the information on this map for the past couple of minutes, honestly, because rapha, he's had all the timings and all the items, right? That kind of stems from that aggressive rocket jump and the frag he got there. And from the rest of that, he's known when every item spawns, and he's, well, taken all of them too. GaRpY has been in some situations where he's on the item, but he's around really early. And by the time rapha comes up and takes it away, the fight's on his terms because he knows when the item's going to spawn. I'm not convinced that GaRpY does, which is just giving rapha so much more free reign across this map. Here's the aggressive push for another time. Difficult position now for GaRpY. Both players without armor, but I think the rapha should be able to pick this one up for free. And GaRpY had a rocket out. That wasn't the right one. Gets 2 rails. rapha is still able to finish the job. You can hit him with all the rails in the world, but if he out-damages you, that cooldown is going to get you killed.
I was going to say something similar. His rails have been sublime. The only problem is it's the stack that he has to deal with, and some good tri-bolts there from rapha. GaRpY considering going for the TP, which he does. Oh, good rockets again from GaRpY. This could be his moment to get that first frag, but he's going to use that orb to pick up that heavy just for extra insurance. will be popping up momentarily. Mega's up in the next 5 seconds. Depends on how rapha wants to go for it. I think he's just double checking to see if he's going to go for that Mega at a different angle, which he does not, as GaRpY pulled all the way back. And now rapha looking extremely good here, as GaRpY just teabagging, just waiting on that mid ground to see when he's going to approach that heavy. Finds him, realizes if he is on the high ground, as he perfectly read, but the problem is I don't think he's going to be able to bag it. No, he will not. But again, forcing rapha to take a little bit of damage in the meantime, but definitely not going to change the scoreline as of yet. Not going to influence it too much in any way. 3 minutes left. Still needs to try and find 6 frags. Hasn't found the first frag yet either.
It's looking like a rather impossible task for me. More of that damage to open up. Just keeping GaRpY at bay, and rapha can just keep cycling these items. He'll take that, sure, because he knows that Heavy's just about to spawn. I got to say as well, not only have the orbs been absolutely fantastic from rapha, that rocket. Oh, good lord, that hurts. Hurts so good. And able to shut down the possibility of using a teleport. The position has been out of this world, but also not just the orbs for rapha's Ranger here. It's been the use of the passive. You know, just on the off chance there's people out there that don't know, Ranger does less self-damage, and most prominently when it comes to the rocket. So those rocket jumps cost nowhere near as much self-damage, right? And rapha's used rocket jumps constantly through teleporters to get to an item faster, to shut down rail angles, to make it so you're not going to hit those shots on him if you're holding the angle on him. It's been a thoroughly impressive showing of the character.
Yeah, it's a very valid point. Mega is still up. Only been up for about 5 seconds, mind you, but with that tri-bolt, he knows GaRpY's still up there. He's actually dropped down. GaRpY's like, yeah, see you later. I'm not having any of that. Finally picks up that Mega. And yeah, time is of the essence now. It's only a minute 35 left remaining. rapha's just having full control of all of these items here. And speaking of item control, let's just have a quick look as well. rapha's picked up 22 items, 22 lights to the 9 items from GaRpY. And even in terms of damage, GaRpY's doing more damage, but it's like I said before, quite a similar circumstance like in the first map, where it's just all about that item control, and he's been struggling a little bit trying to bully him for these items, which he's not been able to that much in terms of congestion. And again, rapha just keeping his distance, keeping GaRpY guessing on where he could be and where he's going to spring from. Picks up the heavy once again. Good rail, and there we have it. GaRpY.
No, he landed on the acid.
That's not the first time either. can't remember who it was. I think it was Sidekick who actually just jumped on the Toxic himself on the rail and just ended up committing suicide anyway. So that's the second time that's happened today alone. But 40 seconds left remaining. Ketchup looks like GaRpY will be sadly losing this 2-0.
A rather safe prediction, my friend, because it's a 9-day difference. That first map, incredibly close, and GaRpY was in the lead for the majority of it. The Vail is where things got ugly. I mean, GaRpY, early on, rapha was able to establish full control over this map. It was the absolute first time he took both of the items. That was it. You know, from that point onwards, and this is the rapha factor. I know that Flea likes to often call it that kind of liquid diesel engine, right? That it can take a little bit of time to get going sometimes, but when they do, it's just all power. And that has been one of these cases, as rapha is going to secure that 2-0 on GaRpY. GaRpY knocked into the lower bracket. rapha moving on the upper side. And that, if I'm not mistaken, is our final series of the day as well. So a good day of Quake it's been. Congrats to rapha. Dominant showing on that second map. We'll bring DJ Wheat back in. We'll bring him back in. And say hello.
I'm coming back. Get ready for it.
Mate.
Here I am. You know, pretty much what we kind of expected and talked about at the beginning, getting up to this match. rapha looking to be in good form heading into this tournament. And, you know, what else do you say? I think performance spoke for itself.
Yeah, there wasn't really too many weaknesses from rapha. I think it was just GaRpY played extremely well in that first map. A lot better than I think any of us would have anticipated. And it's good to see, really, because even though GaRpY is going to be in a loser's bracket, I think a lot of people are going to be a little bit more scared on how GaRpY is going to play. Like in the Stage 2 finals, his movement was good, his game sense was good, but his aim was a little bit all over the place. But this time around, his aim is much more solid in comparison. Like Ketchup said, night and day difference in comparison. And funny enough, GaRpY did out-damage his opponent in both his maps, but it's all about that item control. It's always heavily in favour of rapha in both of these maps. Sadly, for GaRpY. Couldn't really get in a good position to the advantage to try and contest him to the best of his ability, but just one of those things, I'm afraid. But good showing from GaRpY, keeping the scores respectable apart from the 7-0. But that first map was definitely a lot better than we anticipated.
Absolutely. Hard to believe day one is about to be a wrap. I mean, between the 11 matches we had on this stream and the 4 or 5 we had over on the B stream, hopefully we've kept you occupied with some Quake action all day long. Now, Ketchup, I know I asked you and Flea this question earlier, but I'll go to Lethal too. And if you have any updates, please do revise it. But any favorite matches, frags, or anything from today that you're going to walk away thinking about as we head to day 2?
It's quite a tough one. And Maxter versus Base was quite interesting because Max has not really played an opponent like Base before, and the only one who ever comes close in the Americas, which is maybe Dramus. It would have been Dewey, but of course he's not in the Pro League anymore. So that matchup was pretty good. And even the first series of the day, that was definitely a nail-biter. It came down to, one frag in that final map, and I'm sure GaRpY's going to be pretty happy about that. And the Waz game as well against Effortless, something you don't see every day. Waz coming in from the Challengers side, managed to qualify. So yeah, another great matchup in itself.